Episode 120. If you're coming on here thinking that on
Jesus.
Twitch or whatever, thinking that you're watching the Astros game or something, or we're chatting about the Astros, you're wrong. We're chatting about Bullet Train. So welcome in, guys. Anyone that's new, we appreciate you
Episode
coming in.
120. That's nuts, man.
Episode 120. Almost as many movies as Brad Pitt has actually produced at this point.
Fact. Honestly, Brad Pitt is goated as a producer. I don't know what producers actually do, but he's doing the hell out of whatever it is.
I was listening to something recently, and the producer can be a lot of things. Like a lot of times, somebody can even be like a producer in name only. Most of the time, when we think about it, it's about financing the film. But sometimes they'll bring on producers, quote unquote, and they'll have like creative choices within the movie, and they didn't put up any finances. Like that's a lot of the times what actors turn producers are. They'll be creative choices within the film from like helping the director and stuff. But Brad Pitt has also financed a ton of movies, a ton of indie projects and stuff like that. And
So what you're telling me is that Brad Pitt was sitting in the writer's room like, you know what? We need more slavery in 12 Years a Slave.
I don't know, but he being attached as like the producer and is like he was nominated for Academy Awards for like producing before he was ever even really considered for, I mean, he had got Academy Awards for a few acting. I think 12 Monkeys was in there, but he him being like the real Oscar is for 12 Years a Slave for Brad Pitt. And you're like, oh, okay.
He actually had a lot of creative input on this movie. Him and David Leitch basically came up with the Brad Pitt character on their own, because the character that Brad Pitt plays is very different than the way he plays it in the book. And Brad Pitt literally just came onto the set and was just like, hey, let's make the character have gone to therapy. Let's make it, They basically made him like, like Jackie Chan was always trying to avoid the fights, but always ended up in the fights. They basically made him white Jackie Chan, basically.
We'll talk about it and how we all feel about this movie. I'm gonna get roasted on this because, buddy,
you are. You are.
It's
bro.
Bullet
have
Train.
Some fun.
But do not tell me to have fun watching it. I am king of this movie. It slaps because it was just big dumb fun. I fucking love Kong versus Godzilla.
This is so much better than Kong versus Godzilla. This is so much better than that.
Yeah, but no, it's not. Bullet Train came out in 2022, just a couple of weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago now at this point. Rated R, 2 hours, 7 minutes long, 7.5 on IMDb, number 2 overall popularity. God damn, excuse me. 49 Metascore. 5 assassins aboard a fast-moving bullet train, hence the name, find out their missions have something in common. Directed by David Leitch, writer Zach Olkowitz, based on the book by, Kitaro Isaka. Stars Brad Pitt, Joy King, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Brian Tyree Henry, Andrew Koji, Hiroki Sanada. Michael Shannon makes an appearance. Like, spoiler alert, Michael Shannon makes an appearance. Sandra Bullock. They tried to play it off like that was like a surprise appearance, but she's literally been in like every trailer for this movie. And then Bad Bunny, Zazie Beetz, and then Logan Lerman, who I think this is just like a favor from Brad Pitt because he was in that Tank movie. Because Logan Lerman's in this movie for like 5 minutes.
Wait, which Tank movie?
Oh God,
is it Fury?
Fury, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, he was in that Tank movie. So this is like, maybe this would have been Shia LaBeouf if he wasn't weird and bad. Allegedly. This movie's doing really well at the box office, better than I thought it was going to end up doing. A pretty big budget as to be expected. It's made that back. Opening weekend in U.S. and Canada, $30 million, which isn't as big as you would probably hope for a Brad Pitt-led action comedy, but different time in movies. It's made $114 million worldwide, so it's doing all right. But they've been advertising this movie for like
6 months.
It's been in theaters forever. Has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, 76% audience score. Bullet Train's colorful cast and high-speed action are almost enough to keep things going after the story runs out of track. So that's how the Rotten Tomatoes folks feel about it. How do we feel about it? Dex, go ahead.
I feel great about it. I love this movie.
What?
I'm gonna give it a B plus. Tease mentioned this a couple episodes ago when we did The Departed. Like, you don't want to give this movie a better grade than The Departed. Like, it's not actually better than The Departed, but it's low key better than The Departed.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I think I gave The Departed an A minus, but I'm gonna give this one a B plus, like just to be like fair and keep my critic card. But
Your big C critic.
My big C critic card, my credentials. So I don't want to be fired from Screen Rant.
They'd hear this take and they'd be like, "Ew, no, bro."
Yeah, get him out of here. Get him out of here. But yeah, man, this movie was fun as hell to me. The only problems with it is, well, I guess it's kind of a spoiler, like one of the problems. But the non-spoiler problem is that it's a little too long. Like if they made this movie an hour 45, we're cooking with grease.
I kind of agree. My score would go up a couple of letter grades, to be completely honest.
The ending takes forever in this movie. It's like, okay, guys, like let's wrap it up. Come on. But before that, I was having a great time. I loved pretty much every character in this movie. Brad Pitt was awesome. Even like some of the smaller characters, like Bad Bunny, he's in this movie for like 5 minutes as a living character, but he's incredible. Zazie Beetz was in this movie for like 2 minutes, but I liked her a lot. Like, people hate on Joey King for whatever reason, but I feel like she's the most underrated person in this movie. Like, she has to pretty much carry the movie on her back because she has to be like, she's basically the big bad, like as this movie is unfolding.
Right.
And like, you have to despise her enough that you're willing to overlook like all these fucking assassins like on this train and like root for them.
I don't think it's her. I think it's the conversation around Joey King, which is like, oh, is she just going to be in every Netflix rom-com that they're in, Hulu rom-com that they're going to put at? Like, she's in everything.
Hey,
she's in literally everything.
She's in The Princess, which is a movie nobody's watched, but I enjoyed on Hulu. It's not actually good, but she was fun in that. And then she's in what? Like that one Netflix series? Like, I don't even watch.
She's in like 3 or 4 of the same Netflix rom-com, teenage Netflix rom-com movie.
I don't watch any of those. I don't watch any of those, so like I didn't notice. But this
is the first thing I ever saw her in. I haven't seen any of her other stuff.
She's the little kid in Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, okay, never mind.
That's where I know her from. And I was like, oh shit. Like, oh, she's an adult now. That's weird. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I liked her in this movie. She like basically has to carry the film because she's like the only real reason like that you have as the movie is going to root for the other characters who are all like despicable people. And I feel like she did really well at that. It's kind of like the what's his name, Jackson Gleason or whatever his name is, fucking Joffrey from Game of Thrones, where it's like,
oh right,
you have to hate him so much, and like they pulled that off. But yeah, man, I fucked this movie. Could have been shorter, just like my review could have been shorter. I'm gonna give it a B plus.
We got in the chat, somebody says we're talking about Brad Pitt's top 5 movies at the end of this, by the way. 12 Monkeys is the go-to Brad Pitt movie. We're gonna have to agree to disagree, but yes. And then somebody else said, can this wait? The Astros are on right now. By the way, hello from Galveston. No, this cannot wait. We have to talk about Bullet Train right now.
Hey, fuck the Astros, by the way. We don't give a fuck about
Hey, hold on. Don't mess up the money up in here. Wait a minute.
You don't know where the money is printed?
wait a minute now. Hold on.
I'm going to cut that part out of here. It's on the live stream forever. They just blew a 2-0 lead in the 8th, so that's fun. But shut up. Oh, the Yankees are like 19-38.
It's very nasty times in the Yankees nation. It's very nasty.
All right, I'll sandwich this. Normally I go last, but I'll sandwich this with going off of Dex's point, and then Tej, you can wrap it up with some positive spin. I didn't care.
Okay,
that's my review.
It's ridiculous.
I didn't care. about not one of these characters, maybe except for Brian Tyree Henry and Brad Pitt.
I was gonna say Brian Tyree Henry is like the coolest person ever lived in a movie. So
fucking swag him out.
Brian Tyree Henry talking about trains, that did something for me. But like, other than that, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson a little bit, and that's just off the back of who we know, like how charismatic that guy is actually. But
incredible displays of menswear out of them, by the way.
Incredible.
Yeah. What'd you call him? The other Drip or Drown? But that wasn't. I like Brad Pitt having fun, like this new persona that Brad Pitt has come up with, like post-divorce, that you've seen a little bit in his Academy Award-winning film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just Brad Pitt being goofy, like carefree guy.
Brad Pitt, the fun parent.
Yeah, it's fun seeing him have fun, and like there's worse things to do than watch Brad Pitt in an action comedy. But I just did not the I need to kill my father storyline. Just as we're speeding around on this train, it's just all for nothing for me. I just did not care, did not resonate with me at all. A lot of the jokes, or not a lot, but a lot of the just jokes in the middle of the action, like we'll stop a fight to like do a quip or y'all are gonna hate this, but the Marvelification of that, like, oh, did that just happen, sort of thing, it's pretty rampant throughout this movie, and I don't know, it just didn't work the same for me. I just said if you wanted to watch Deadpool, just watch Deadpool, because that's basically what they're going for in this movie. Hyper violence, which I'm okay with, more so than most, and explosions and stuff. Yeah, it's right out of my alley. But in the end, the emotional weight and the payoff just did nothing for me. And then it was weird seeing Michael Shannon show up. You're just, oh shit! Like if we're gonna have Michael Shannon in a movie, can we have Michael Shannon in the movie for more than like 5 minutes? And it felt like just a cameo central of these people worked with David Leitch before, so I'm gonna go do him a favor in Tokyo or whatever. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I know some people are gonna like be rolling their eyes at this because of like the movies that I tend to like or whatever, but it just isn't. It just wasn't for me. I just kind of sat there the entire time saying, like, we've seen this stuff done better in different films, and all of it together just did not work for me for some reason. And it's still a good way to spend your money and spend your time. I'm not saying like don't go watch this movie or anything, but for me, as action comedies go, I'm not popping this one on anytime soon. And for something that like has the literal forward momentum of a speeding train, just the pauses that they would take to kind of explain backstory, and like only one or two of them worked. Like the twins was really funny and good, but just the pauses that they would take. Bad Bunny was fine too, but it just would stop almost in the middle of all this. And like you were saying, Dex, if it was an hour 45, I may bump this up to a B plus. I just can't. It just halts all momentum at the end, or going towards the end, and just in the middle of all of these slice and dice. And the action is good. The handheld sort of continuous action that we've seen from David Leitch and Chad Stahelski in the John Wick movies that have continued on, I really like that, and I'm glad it's continuing in film. But stopping that to make bad jokes just didn't do it for me. Some people it's gonna work a lot better. The jokes will land, but there was just multiple times where there was supposed to be a really funny big joke, and I just found myself going, "Huh, okay," and it just moved on. It just kind of washed over me. Maybe that's how I felt that day or whatever. Comedy's subjective. Don't get mad at me, but I'm just saying it just did not
get mad at him. Roast
yeah,
him.
sure. At me on Twitter.
Get mad at him.
Run me out of here. But I just think the comedy wasn't always there for me. Action was great. Some of the supporting characters I just did not give a fuck about, and the overall why are we here storyline, couldn't care less. Could not care less. And yeah, all that to say, I give it a C plus. If it's on TV on FX, TNT knows drama. Sure, I may pop it on a Sunday afternoon, but I don't think I'll revisit this movie anytime soon. C plus for me.
Wow, this is an injustice. This film was fucking awesome. I'm also gonna go B plus, just like Dex did. The only things I really have to say negatively about it are that the Joey King performance, while it's not a bad performance, I just feel like she was in a different movie. Kind of everybody else except for the son are just kind of like hamming it up, having a good time. Even Bad Bunny, even though he's not like in on the joke, is clearly meant to inspire laughs. Just how serious that the character is.
It was a blatant Tarantino ripoff, by the way.
You're supposed to laugh at Bad Bunny. I don't think you're supposed to laugh at Joey King, and it just felt weird every time she was on screen. Even though her performance is good, I just feel like it was a different movie. Other than that, this film was fucking awesome. The twins are incredible. Yep. We need a prequel of the twins right now. Brad Pitt doing the passive Jackie Chan therapy dad thing is just phenomenal content. I love the cool Brad Pitt that kind of looks like he just smoked weed right before he got onto the movie set. It's even cooler to know that he kind of came up with this character on its own. And it's just really cool to see, kind of John Wick style action, but in a train and also like with jokes in it, because John Wick is it takes itself so seriously. It is nice to watch a movie that you sit down and go, okay, this movie doesn't take itself seriously at all. You realize that immediately. And we're here to have a good time and laugh. And some of the jokes are going to land and some of them won't. I really appreciated that. I think the movie looks great. There's so many close shots and angles that you have to use because you're literally filming on pieces of a train. They filmed this all with, I think, two different little cars. They that's all they really had. And all these all the cameos are really fun. But you can kind of tell it's like they filmed this during COVID because everybody was just begging to be on a movie set. Like, please, please, please put me on a movie set. I'm bored out of my mind. So they had a lot of people that they could just draw from to throw into the movie, it's a script and a movie that really lends itself to random celebrities showing up into the movie at any given time. I had a great time with it. I would give it a B plus. I just thought that it's like a movie star's performance that Brad Pitt is giving you, and I've been saying for years, put Brian Tyree Henry in anything because he can literally do anything. I could not stop commenting about how incredible his skin looked in this film. For whatever reason, that dude's skincare routine is going crazy. The money is looking good on Brian Tyree Henry.
Honestly, facts though.
I just love they had kind of immediate chemistry with the other twin. Like those two dudes just had chemistry that was just oozing out of the movie anytime the two of them were on screen. The violence was dope. The fight scenes were dope, and I really liked how different people in the movie had different fight styles. It does not look like one guy who used to do stunts choreographed all the fight and all of them fight the same. They all kind of fight differently based on their body type and their character. I just thought it was just a super cool, super fun time at the movie theater. I could have used it being a little shorter, but honestly, during the actual screening of it, I never felt like it was going too long. I didn't feel like, oh my God, when is this movie going to end? I was having a great time the whole time. I fucking love Michael Shannon. Not my favorite Michael Shannon performance, but he was going for it. He did what he could do. I had a good time with it. I would give it a B plus. And if the rumors are true that they're going to try to make a prequel with the twins, count me in on that shit. I want to know what happened in Bolivia. I want to know how these characters first got together. I want to know all that shit. And I just want to see Brian Tyree Henry in the lead of a movie. Even though he's on screen a lot in this movie, I wanted him to be on screen even more because I thought he was just great. And he kind of stole the show whenever he was on the screen.
Yep.
I enjoyed it. I would love to. I've only seen it once. I thought I was going to go back and watch it twice, but I got busy. But I've only seen it once, and it's been a couple weeks for me. But I can't wait to see it again. I had a great time with it. I'm going to give it a B plus. Long live Brad Pitt. He's beautiful. Even when he's trying not to be beautiful, he's just the most beautiful person that's ever lived. I had a great time.
I'm going to have long hair in this one. Maybe they won't think that I'm like supermodel good looking. Yeah, Brad, sure.
I watched it for the second time yesterday. I actually got to go back and get into it. It lost a little bit on the second viewing for me just because, like spoilers, some of the deaths are fake out. So it's like it's more obvious once you watch it the second time that they're fake out deaths. But I just hate fake out deaths, and I think they're bad, and people should stop doing them. So it
You
loses
have
a
a
little bit
big
there for
problem
me.
with that. That's
I hate it.
It never
It's
has
so
bothered me
stupid.
that
You
much.
hate the fake out deaths.
It's so fucking whack. Like either kill them or don't. Like just
You hate
don't-
that shit.
don't play with me, bro. Like if you're gonna kill a character, kill a character. But some other thoughts. Soundtrack on this is bumping. Like I love the music that
Nice.
they pick. Like the Japanese cover of Looking for a Hero or Holding Out for a Hero, whatever the song is
Yeah.
called. The Bonnie Tyler joint. Love that shit. And like a couple of the like other Japanese like needle drops that they had in this.
The Staying Alive one was
Incredible.
awesome.
Yeah, I fucking love the soundtrack and the shit. Also loved
You
like
didn't- You didn't like the body humor stuff, Royden, when he's like got to stage the dead bodies to look like they are still passengers on the train. That shit was hilarious.
amazing.
Oh, I laughed at when he like threw the sun up against the window or whatever and like waved his arm. Like the Monty Python of it was like very funny to me. Brad Pitt being a dipshit and like opening the suitcase too much and like the
Yep.
underwear all falls out and sex toys all fall out of it is like that's childish, but like yeah, I really enjoyed that. A lot of it, and I know we're in like a heightened universe or whatever. A lot of it is like the plausibility of all this, where they're like fighting in the train, although the action was not. Where they're fighting in the quiet car, although the action.
I love that shit.
They did the joke too many times, where it's like they didn't know where to quite cut it off with some of this stuff. It's like they just kept the camera rolling, and they plowed some of these jokes into the ground. I'm not saying all of them didn't hit. But just like the plausibility of some of this stuff, I'm like, all right, let's move on to the next. I need the next thing.
Eat a bag of dicks, lady. Like had me cracking up both times. I'm sorry.
when Brad Pitt, like I said, it's fun seeing Brad Pitt have fun in movies because he's a movie star. He's one of the few that we have left. So when he like would break character and be like, fuck you or whatever, it was really funny because he's trying to do this Zen master thing the entire time. And then he's just fighting hand to hand. Other than that, it just didn't have that much other weight to me. I will say the Brian Tyree Henry thing, one of the best British accents done by a American that we've seen in movies because it doesn't ever go the opposite way.
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all at any point, which is a lot to say about a fake British accent. Like,
Yeah,
facts.
I'm sure British people, like our 3 British listeners, are going to be like, "That was terrible," but
that was shite, mate.
Absolute bullshit. But
bloody hell, mate. They're rubbish.
Yeah, but I thought it was actually it's like him and Johnny Depp from Pirates of the Caribbean. Other things, y'all continue. Y'all take it off. Y'all like this more than me. I don't want to be the one that like completely brings this down because like it's fun. It's just not what I was wanting quite as I didn't get quite as much fun as I thought there would be in a movie literally called Bullet Train. So I don't know.
Go ahead, Tish.
I was obsessed with the Jackie Chan-ness of it. As somebody who I grew up at the time where Jackie Chan became the biggest movie star in America, or one of the biggest movie stars in America. And I went back and I watched a lot of those old school Jackie Chan movies before he had kind of made it in America. And there's something I've always loved about those characters that he played that were just slow to violence, and that he could beat everybody's ass in the room if he wanted to, but he really, really, really would rather talk his way out of it. There's something about that is so dope, and it's such a cool trope to establish for the character. And so from the beginning, Brad Pitt's character has gone through this transformation. He's trying to be peaceful, and he's literally trying to get through this job, which is inherently a dangerous job, although he's kind of unaware of how dangerous it is, without committing violence. And I just thought that was so cool. And he doesn't really kill anyone until like the back fourth of the movie. Like people died during the fights with him, but a lot of times they died like on accident, right? Like, and it's amazing because Jackie Chan, in his movies, nobody ever died. He didn't kill these people, but he would just like get out of the way and avoid them in a way that would make them kind of seal their own fate and to knock themselves out or something like that. And to see that, I immediately thought of like, oh, this is Jackie Chan. Like you don't see that anymore because like in a Marvel movie, we don't want our heroes to not fight people. We came to the theater to watch our heroes beat the shit out of people. So it's different, but you to kind of see that kind of passive, oh, I'd rather not do this, because I just thought it was a really cool throwback, and I kind of just obsessed over, holy shit, Brad Pitt's being Jackie Chan, which is the coolest thing to ever happen to me, because Brad Pitt is a fucking movie star, and he's fucking doing Jackie Chan in a John Wick movie. Like, to me, that was cool as hell. I really enjoyed that.
It is
like
good...
a really cool, like, flip up of the like I'm 3 days from retirement trope. It's like that.
Yep.
So, like,
I just got out of therapy.
I just got out of therapy. I don't want to do this, man. I just want to get off this fucking train. Fucking Carter's supposed to be here.
And it's never like, he never does the trope of like Lethal Weapon or I'm too old for this shit sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just that, oh, I'm still good at what I do. I just like, I would prefer not to do it. I'm trying to maintain this level of zen. Like I said, dipshit Brad Pitt is always really, really funny. But it is something that you are willing to root for him. And it is the gravitas of Brad Pitt that I think leads you through it, because he included in everyone's kind of a fucking terrible person. Like,
everyone. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like, Joey King has to be so awful that you root for these other terrible people. Like, that was
that's a good way to look at it. I looked at it as like, oh man, I'm having a rough time rooting for the guys that like committed genocide in where was it? Bolivia? Where were they?
Belize.
Bolivia.
Belize. Yeah. So
Bolivia.
like, so I just kind of had a problem a little bit with that. I'm never that big on it's not a huge deal to me if somebody isn't like supposed to be a likable character and all of a sudden they're likable. Like, that never has really bothered me. But there was just, everyone was supposed to be an unlikable character.
It's like you're watching these dudes with like the Fargo wood chipper and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But he watches Thomas the Tank Engine, so I guess I have to love him.
Yeah, there was no Francis McDormand character like Fargo that weighs that down with a little bit of serenity. There just wasn't that. But like I said, it is fun to see just psychopaths go up against each other throughout like a moving train. And also, like, there's very little collateral damage. I know everybody starts to like kind of get off the train and they say like, I paid everybody to get off the train, but it's almost like all the passengers are just super unaware of them having a battle royale throughout this entire train.
Yeah,
like, nobody,
NPCs, bro. They do what they're programmed to do. Get the NPCs out of the way. Like, they're just in the way.
NPCs are just not even worried about.
It's like, bro, this kid just like vomited blood and like spilled blood all over the screen, and
nobody's just going on. Yes. Nobody reacts.
Right.
I really like the trick that they do. It helps the movie in the script, the rule that the doors only stay open for 1 minute, because now you have moments where obviously somebody would, because of the situation, would definitely try to get off the train or get back on the train, and they can't because of the timing. And so you have these countdown things where Brad Pitt is counting a minute in his head so it can make certain actions. I thought that was kind of cool, and it breaks up the movie. Like, oh, we're at a stop now. Now we're breaking up the movie a little bit, and now we got to deal with whatever's out on the platform for that 1 minute. I thought that was a really cool movie trick. It's an
interesting device.
It was an interesting movie device that I appreciated.
Also, a very dope watch Brad Pitt was wearing in this movie. I had to look up what it was afterwards. I was like, that shit is fire. Like, when he's doing like the 1 minute countdown, he like looks over at his watch and it's like very obvious to Breitling. And like, I, and to watch this now, had to go look that shit up because I was like, I need one. that's on my list now.
He picked his own hat. Brad Pitt came to set with the little bucket hat looking thing, or one that looked like it. And then they were like, oh, here's some hats we want you to try. And he was like, no, I want to wear one like this. So they designed a little bucket hat to look like the one that he was wearing when he showed up on set. So like, basically he was just like, oh, I just happen to be wearing this, but like, I think this works with the character. And they're like, okay. And they let Brad Pitt wear that little bucket hat. So he
GQ cover star Brad Pitt. That gave Brad Pitt the worst GQ cover of ever.
That was awful. He looked like he was dead.
A dead body. Like, dead.
They made his skin was so pale. Like, why did they make him look dead?
That was the worst I've ever seen.
Hasn't been that white. He's lived in Hollywood his entire life. He is tan as fuck. He has never looked that white in his entire life. What is going on?
Worst I've ever seen Brad Pitt in my entire life.
probably the only way they can get him to be like, actually, you're not going to be extremely handsome today. You're going to be like pretty much dead looking. He was like, oh, you got my attention now. Go on. Like, he's
I
probably tired of being the most handsome guy of all time.
Embalming fluid. Like that's the look
we're going for. We're thinking nursing home or later. How about that? I get what they were trying to do with that. It was like basically a rendition of a famous painting, which I'm too stupid to understand which one it was. But like, why? You have the hottest guy on the planet.
Do something else.
Do the thing where they sit in a chair backwards with an expensive suit on. We all love that. It's worked for 1,000 years.
It goes hard every time.
Man.
Anyway, I think part of the reason that I like this movie so much, and Royden, maybe it sounds like you didn't, was I really love just the way they did like very like parenthetical storytelling. Like they'd introduce a character and then it'd be like, this is who that is, like in parentheses.
I normally like the Tarantino cutaway stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, we sit here and one of Brad Pitt's more famous movies, which may or may not be on my list, Inglourious Bastards, does that the entire time. But it felt more brief in those movies. With this one, there's like the twin scene is like 7 minutes long. It is like long.
It was incredible.
Should have been longer. It was incredible.
And like that gives you so much about who those characters are without having to be like, here's this very long backstory of how they met and why they call themselves twins and blah blah blah. It's like, nah, these dudes caught 17 bodies out there. Like, they're about that life. And we're gonna show them all to you.
Every single one. No, it was 12. No, it was 15 or whatever the number was. What do we feel about? There's a couple of things with this. I am never really opposed to stunt casting. I know a lot of Big C critics don't like stunt casting in movies. I, for one, love a cameo. Like I don't give a shit. What do we think of the Bad Bunny-ness of it all? Because that was definitely like, we got to get asses in seats.
Loved it.
I didn't know that was Bad Bunny until after the movie was over.
He's like really good. He's like a really good actor.
He's great. I was like, oh shit, he can fucking wrestle and he can fucking like that's crazy that he's that talented. I thought he was great. I was like, oh, that was cool. And then I went with Monique, and Monique was like, yeah, and Bad Bunny. I was like, wait, there was a Bad Bunny song in here? I didn't hear any Bad Bunny music. She was like, no, Bad Bunny was in the movie, and I was like, what? I guess I didn't know what Bad Bunny looked like, but I thought he was great. And I'm always good for a cameo. You could put a shitty somebody who's bad at acting in there, and I can appreciate it for us in a small role, and we can have some fun. But he was actually good. I didn't even like process that this person has maybe never acted. Obviously, he acts in his music videos and stuff, but like this person's never been in a movie before, at least not a movie I've ever seen. And I thought he was great. I couldn't believe that he was that good. But I guess when you're Bad Bunny and you're fucking good at literally everything in the world, I shouldn't be surprised.
It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, dude.
It's super annoying.
Cannot miss. It's crazy.
Save some talents for the rest of us, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Is this?
Yeah, I do not mind a stunt cameo. And even like you were talking about, if we're gonna have Michael Shannon or whatever his name is in the movie, like have him in there longer. I had no idea who that is. So like,
you love Shape of Water. What are you talking about?
Oh my god!
I saw Shape of Water one time, like several years ago. I didn't recognize like, oh shit, that's Shape of Water. So I just
greatness.
Like, that's cool. Like, it's this guy. I'm sure that's a famous person. I don't know who that is. So like, I wasn't bothered at all by like, how briefly he was in the movie.
Guys, are we being spammed?
We're getting spammed by 69mega.com.
Or is someone trying to offer us sexual favors? We love y'all as the fans, but we don't want sexual favors on the podcast. This is a wholesome podcast, guys.
Teach does have an OnlyFans, but like that is for subscribers only, not on this podcast. On top of the 18 podcasts he does, he also has a feet OnlyFans. It's actually crazy.
You don't want to see my feet.
I've never seen him before.
Podcast host extraordinaire.
How do we kick 69 mega out the damn? This is ridiculous. This is the family podcast.
I don't block user on YouTube. Y'all can mess with it. All comments are good comments,
mega.
Right?
Hey, 69 mega, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Thank you.
Like, download, subscribe. Apparently, Bad Bunny had a like a reoccurring role in Narcos Mexico as well. So this isn't his first sort of
Oh, I didn't watch that
foray.
one. But that makes sense.
And there's some musicians that have turned into good actors. Some that are just terrible. But he
Gaga's
seems to have
phenomenal.
the chemistry and the presence, the wherewithal to really shine on the screen. Also helps that he's handsome, but it's
Also
like
helps that he didn't have to talk very much. So
fair,
Yeah,
fair.
true.
But that's a good on them. Like he just
Yeah.
had a few English lines. Like but yeah, his whole backstory and stuff was, like I said, it was good, and that one was actually a little bit longer than I would have thought it was going to be, and it just kind of kept going. But the payoff of it was crazy. The throwing up blood sort of thing was
Yeah.
like, whoa, oh no.
Yeah, this escalated. Like I know this was this kind of movie.
This movie is hyper violent, especially like the Zazie Beetz thing, like the bleeding from the eyes and her like
Yeah.
throwing up and stuff. This movie is like a lot more violent than what you're expecting.
Or when
the
they like
cutesy, the cutesy
killed that
stuff is
dude
trying
with,
to
like putting a hook through his face. Like, this shit
Oh.
is wild.
The QC stuff is like trying to mask it, but it's like this is one of the more violent than a John Wick movie because it's violent in a different way, right? Like it's
A lot more
the
blood.
level of a lot more blood than you would see in a John Wick movie where he's just shooting people and moving on. Like we're not gonna sit there and watch them bleed out of their eyes when John Wick shoots them. We just move on to the next henchman that we got to shoot. But you know, I pretty much have no stomach or no bad stomach for violence anymore because we've seen so many violent movies and I happen to like some extremely violent shit. So it didn't even bother me. I just pushed right on through that violence. Yeah, I was like, I need more of that violence, bro. Give me more.
I mean,
of that.
this technically pales in comparison to your favorite movie, Kill Bill, to be completely
True.
honest.
I mean, true. I mean, she was chopping everybody up. There were limbs flying everywhere. That shit was phenomenal.
I mean, yeah, but this movie is like hyper violent, which
It's very violent.
It didn't end up bothering me that much. So I've gotten kind of used to it because y'all kind of forced me to
Since being on this podcast.
Like by making me watch Kill Bill 1 and 2. But
yeah, I keep thinking back to that when we forced you. You're like, I don't like violence in movies. We're like, fuck it.
Like, okay, let's watch Kill Bill.
Watch Kill Bill.
Get over it. Bullied you into watching the most violent film of all time.
Well, yeah, you know, this like some parts of this movie are fucked up. Like, you know, back in the day, I would not have been able to handle fucking Aaron Taylor Johnson turning into a fountain for like 3 minutes on screen. Man. Like, it just kept going and going and going.
He's had a really interesting career, Aaron Taylor Johnson, because if you remember, he started at he was like 21 when like Kick-Ass came out. And then since then, he's kind of morphed into, and I thought he was going to be like a star. And he's had a really good career. Of course, he, had a role in some Marvel movies and stuff. And now he's going to be Kraven the Hunter, I believe, for the worst Marvel universe. But
put him in everything. He fucking crushed it.
I really enjoy him on screen. I actually really enjoy him on screen. But I think this is like his lane of being maybe like the third or fourth lead where he gets to like try a bunch of things and be really insane on screen and like angry all the time. He's really good at that. I think he's had he's also really good looking too. Like there's a ton of good looking films. Yeah.
Looks great in the suit.
Ton of good looking people.
Shout out to another stunt casting cameo, Channing Tatum. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, yes, that's what I wanted
Channing
to talk about.
Tatum was like, he's got a great walk. I was like, yeah, he does. Like that
was so funny.
That was the funniest part in the movie to me, where Channing Tatum, which is another thing that. Oh, you know what it is? Is that what was the movie with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock that the rom-com that made
the Lost something
Lost City of Z, or no, the Lost City.
They were filming these at the same time. That's why Brad Pitt makes the cameo in that movie, and then like David Leitch, the director, said like a week later, like Brad Pitt went to their set to go do that cameo. So like they both were just like, "Hey, be in my movie. You're filming it right now," and that's how those two cameos happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was wanting to say. But the Channing Tatum showing up, which I said this isn't the first time he's up there with Matt Damon of being like the
Just
king
pop
of
into a movie
cameo,
for
just
3
popping
seconds.
into a movie. He hadn't like really, besides The Lost City, he hadn't starred in a movie in forever. He will show up in your movie
He'll
for
just
10
show
seconds.
up.
He don't give a fuck.
Oh,
He's
y'all
been doing
filming a
that for the
movie
last
today?
couple years.
Bet,
He'll
I'm
just
in.
show up.
Yeah, especially he'll just what did he do it in? Free Guy. He was in that
Free Guy,
out of
yep.
nowhere as well. But he
Channing Tatum definitely invites people to like hang out with him or whatever, and they're like, "I can't, I'm shooting a movie," and he's like, "Oh, can I come?"
Yeah, he's like, no worries. I'm in the
I'm
neighborhood.
free, whatever.
I got 3 hours. Whatever, I'll be there.
But he shows up and he's really funny because he's actually like he's honed his comedy craft, I guess. But hanging out with the crew, God damn it, I just butchered that. Hanging out with Jonah Hill for like 3 years. I think he kind of honed his comedy craft. But
it'll help.
Yeah, him just going, is that a sex thing? We doing a sex thing? And it's like always he's really funny. But what did we think about the ending of the movie? I know you said it ended. That was another problem I had. It ended like 5 times.
Yep. Yeah, they had about 5 different endings.
Little too long.
It just kept going.
I'm fine with the Home Alone-ness of it, I guess, where they're like, we're gonna fight these dudes with whatever weapons that we have. Also, the son, Koji, I'm gonna butcher his name. The son whose son got thrown off the building. Andrew Koji, who's also in a movie that Dex actually kind of liked, Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
So Andrew Koji, his fake out death was the craziest to me, because he was literally like shot in the stomach, and then they're just like, nah, he's just not dead.
Yeah, and like watching it the second time,
he lived forever. He lived the rest of the movie.
Yeah, watching it the second time, I was like, oh, when Brad Pitt, like, no, it wasn't Brad Pitt. It was Brian Tyree Henry who like threw him in the bathroom or whatever. Like he was still like breathing and whatnot. So it's like they didn't like kill him. Like they kind of like Brian Tyree Henry. That shit just felt so fucking cheap. Like it looked like he was fucking
sleeping pill thing or
whatever.
It
like he was fucking out of there. It was like, I mean, yeah, they told you about the bulletproof vest earlier in the movie. Like I get it, but it was like motherfucker looked like he was dead. Andrew Koji, they showed you him breathing like when he got dumped in the bathroom or whatever. But yeah, both
saw
of those
damn vest, bro. They established the vest. I was fine.
I hate it. I mean, on the second time, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But don't do that. Look, shoot him in the face.
Well, then also he sacrifices himself for a guy that killed his quote unquote brother, which is okay, sure. And then he's still alive at the very end because he did my favorite movie trope. He landed in a train. He landed in water out of a train, which from a bridge that's 1,000 feet high. Everything we know about reality is like he's dead when he hits the water.
Yeah, and he can stand up in it like so the water is not deep at all.
Right, he pressed his spine falling from that bridge. Going 100 miles an hour on a bullet train.
And then when the bad guy, the henchman, like wakes up behind him, he's like running away, like fuck, and finds a gun and shoots him in the face. I was like, okay, that's hilarious.
That's really
like,
funny.
It's dumb,
yeah,
but it's
once
hilarious.
It became hilarious again, I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine with it because I was like, oh, that's weird. He survived that. Then he got up and shot the guy, and I was like, okay, I'm in. He was like running away. I was like, okay, I'm back in. I was fine with it.
And then he killed Joey King with a truck. It was awesome.
He saw a tangerine truck and ran her bitch ass over.
A couple of times it was like the movie was trying to say, hey guys, this is a callback. Get it?
Yeah. Definitely.
Oranges, tangerine, get it?
Every time I was like, yeah, I do get it. Love it. Thank you.
It does do a little bit too much winking at you. And it's like, okay, we get it, guys. Like, you don't have to do the see what we did? The wink. You don't have to do that. But I also didn't mind it. Because again, I was comparing it tonally to John Wick so much just because the concept is kind of similar. One guy is going through a shitload of people and he has a mission. But John Wick is like, anytime you laugh in a John Wick movie, it's because somebody else made a joke that's not Keanu Reeves, or Keanu Reeves said something that was so ridiculous that he took so seriously that you can't help but laugh. But it's like it's not meant to be. John Wick is never like, look what we did. Oh my god, guys! Like, remember what we did before? Now we're referencing back. It doesn't wink at you at all. You just enjoy the ride.
The train, they're back. Like, remember the tangerines?
The difference is John Wick has the central. Like, I know that Brad Pitt is the central, but John Wick has the character that we remember from the entire backstory. Has John Wick? John Wick has John Wick. They killed his fucking dog. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Dex
oh yeah, we can talk about
movies,
that.
By the way, what the fuck is going on here, man?
I don't know.
What is that? What is actually happening?
Talking about John Wick on this podcast for like 100 episodes.
I guarantee we mentioned John Wick 40 times on this podcast, and today,
Dex
by the
way,
I've never seen any of those movies. I've never seen any of those
movies. I don't know what to tell you. It's not like I'm like avoiding them. I just missed it, man.
Sounds like you are.
It makes me so sad that you watched Matrix 4 and did not watch John Wick 1, 2, and 3. That makes me incredibly sad because
it makes
an
me
epic
sad,
waste of your time to have watched Matrix 4.
Oh my god, the movie is ass. Holy shit.
Keanu Reeves has made 13 great action movies, and then all of a sudden, in a row, and then it was like, hey, what if I just made Matrix 4? What if it was ass?
It was the worst shit that you've ever seen.
Actually, he didn't really. That wasn't his fault.
That
but
wasn't his fault, but it was awful.
It's somebody's fault.
He was bad in it.
Yeah,
he was
the
bad.
The Wachowskis' fault. That's who it was, or one of them. The only one of them.
Yeah, I've never seen John Wick. I assume I'll get to the first 3 by the time the 4th one comes out. At some
Next time we do a poll episode, I'm putting John Wick on there because that shit is elite cinema. That shit is elite cinema. I love those movies.
Anything else?
And John Wick 4 is about to drop. Like, you need to be prepared because we're definitely going to do John Wick 4 on this podcast. It's coming.
They're also relatively.
Sure.
The third one was a little. Third one was a little long, but they're also relatively shorter action movies too, which kind of was why the first one was successful. It's just all action.
My hot take is that I do not like John Wick 2, but I love 1 and 3. And I don't hate John Wick 2. I just don't. I never revisit it. I always either watch 1 or watch 3. I never watched 2. I never rewatched 2, I should say.
Well, I'm gonna watch 1 at some point soon.
Oh, you're gonna fucking love it.
My only other comment on this movie is that this was a very interesting and weird movie weekend double feature for me because I watched that the Apple TV Plus movie Luck.
Oh,
it's a kids movie all about like good luck and bad luck and avoid it and blah, blah, blah.
All the luck thing.
Yeah, and so I watched this movie for the second time and keep talking about good luck and bad luck and fate and destiny and all this other shit, and I was like, am I watching just the adult version of this Apple TV Plus? And I just watched, holy shit, is the universe trying to tell me something about luck right now? I don't like this.
Oh man, y'all want to do top 5 Brad Pitt movies? Any other thoughts on this movie?
Let's do this.
All right, top 5 Brad Pitt movies. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants with mine. I know I didn't make out a list, but I kind of had it in my mind what we were going to do.
Mine aren't in order, so if yours aren't in order, I will not judge you.
So wait, are we talking about the movies as a whole, or are we talking about Brad Pitt in the movies?
I would say
the movies as a whole.
Movies as a whole.
Yeah, Brad Pitt in Fight Club, very good. Fight Club, not good.
Well, that is. I'll start. Agreed. That is my top 5. That is my number 5.
God damn it!
I wanted to. I know we all hate that movie, and we all kind of went back on it.
Sticks.
But I'm gonna break my own rule. We just said movie as a whole. It's good enough for me, and it's given me so much entertainment over the years because he's fucking fantastic in that movie.
He's great in the movie.
He's incredible.
He's great.
And he looks awesome. And it's just it's so charismatic, and he jumps off the screen. Young Brad Pitt in Fight Club. I know the movie as a whole and its ideas that it has are kind of bad and weird, but something about him and his performance with Edward Norton is pristine. It's incredible. He
killed it.
Yeah. So I will say that is why I have it at number 5. Hey, I couldn't go higher than that, and I'm gonna have to kick off some other movies that I truly enjoy more. But he's the hottest person to ever live in that film, so I have to put it in there.
No love for Ad Astra at number 5.
I like Ad Astra. Y'all hate Ad Astra.
Ad Astra fucking sucks, dude. How do you like Ad Astra?
I liked it.
Ad Astra has an 83% thermometer and a 40% audience score. That shit fucking stinks.
Oh my god!
I'm I love incredible gowns, beautiful gowns.
That movie is what started my hate for the word meditative when it comes to reviews in movies. And like that's a bit that I haven't like revisited in a while on this podcast. But I used to say like if you see a critic give a review and it has the word meditative about a movie, that means it's boring as, and that movie is bad. That movie
I will
is
give it that
a meditative origin story. I hated that shit.
It is extremely boring. Beautiful gowns.
Beautiful gown.
I'll keep saying about it. And I have a good relationship with my dad, so I don't know why I like the movie.
Yeah, cannot relate at all.
Yeah,
my dad is still at my house.
Actually, my dad is not in space. He didn't like leave to go get space cigarettes or anything like that.
That's not in space.
But like, yeah, the Dad Astra is not not good, but I loved it.
My dad left me on Earth 30 years ago and never called.
They also marketed that movie as like a bait and switch too, because they're like, it's gonna be like a space adventure. He's falling from like space and stuff like that.
He
and
like
then it
fights
just wasn't.
a monkey like 30 minutes in, like out of nowhere. It's like a fight with like a space monkey, and then there's just no action otherwise for the rest of the entire movie. It's just him being like, hey, day 37 in space. Dad still won't call.
He also like rides a heat shield to like another planet, or if I remember correctly, to his shuttle. That was incredible.
Well, yeah, the movie looked incredible. Incredible
cinematography. Everybody do their 5 and then go like that. So
okay, we want to do the entire 5 in a row, or do we want to do?
No. You said your number 5. Now Dex should say his number.
Yeah,
5 like
Dex,
that.
go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Moneyball as my number 5. A movie I don't love as much as I would have if I saw it in 2011.
It's on my list.
Still pretty solid. And Brad Pitt is the best part of that movie, so I'm gonna give it number 5.
Not gonna like give away where it is on my list, but it is on my list.
Okay.
So we can.
It's not on mine.
It is much beguiled, I guess is the word. I don't know if that's even the word I would use, but it's very contentious draft pick between some people, because baseball purists and nerds will be like, that's not actually what happened, and those people can S my C, because that is just they can suck my cock, because I don't think that even matters when you're telling a story as well as they told this story. And Brad Pitt taking somebody that probably, I don't know Billy Bean, or have actually never seen him talk, but taking him and making him cool and likable and funny with like saying nothing.
Yeah, I don't care about the real Billy Bean at all. I just want to watch
it's incredible. It's a movie star performance, because it's the only way that it works is that Brad Pitt, you're like, I trust what this guy has to say.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's cool as shit. Still.
Yeah.
Even
baseball's not nearly cool enough to be making, Billy Bean's not really like that. Fuck you. He's Brad Pitt. Let him do his thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's also some of the best baseball filmed scenes ever. Like, they actually got the baseball right. If you care about that, like, you watch some of these baseball movie or sports movies, and it's like it cuts away at weird times, or like people don't know how to throw or anything like that. Like, Hollywood actors have no idea how to like throw a baseball. But
the greatest baseball movie ever is Rookie of the Year, and I'm sure that baseball is nothing like real baseball. I didn't give one shit.
Huff.
That fucking film. That film is phenomenal television. I'm gonna rewatch that shit tonight. That is the greatest shit of all time.
Tease, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is True Romance. Brad Pitt just plays a high guy on the couch. He doesn't really do much, but I just love this movie so much, and the fact that Brad Pitt's just smoking and laying on the couch. This is the true essence of Brad Pitt, and it's one of my favorite movies. So I'm gonna go True Romance, a movie that Tarantino maybe should have directed, but still turned out fucking awesome.
Shout out to Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, I love the early part of Brad Pitt's career where it's like, just be hot in this movie.
Yes, just sit there and be hot and don't say too much. Perfect.
And after like 7 and 12 Monkeys, he really tried to get away from that. He's like, I'm gonna go be character actor Brad Pitt. But even then, in 7, you're like, this is like the hottest cop I've ever seen in my entire life.
This is not what cops look like.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my number 4 is Seven.
Yeah,
That's also my number 4.
same.
Seven is a movie
We
that
all
is
have
a,
the same number 4.
777.
yeah, triple
Look at that.
sevens. Seven is a movie that is aged incredibly. Other than the He Who Shall Not Be Named of it all.
Yeah,
We don't talk about
being
him.
the main bad guy.
Yeah, he's a bad guy in real life.
Even though
Yeah.
he's a super villain in real life, so it's just like
Yeah.
but he's incredible. He is good in that movie though. When you go back and you watch it, but like it is aged incredibly well. Is like a thriller, one of the most taught thrillers of the last 20 years. And Morgan Freeman. What?
Fincher's really him. Like he's
yeah,
really
Fincher is on fire on that movie, and the type of like just how he films it and how the entire movie looks, and it's rainy and it looks like hell the entire movie, and Brad Pitt is just like trying to hang on and survive and have like a positive outcome in this literal hell that he's in, whatever city this is supposed to be. Some say Seattle, some say New York, Chicago. They don't really have like where they actually are, but it is aged incredibly well.
Shout out, Brad Pitt is actually producing the next David Fincher film, so we got
swag
that for us. It's called The Killer. It stars Michael Fassbender and Tilda Swinton.
Michael Fassbender's back. The Fast
Michael
Man.
Fassbender's back.
He's been like racing cars and shit. He doesn't care about acting at all.
He was like, "I'm Magneto. I don't need to do anything else ever again. Like I'm good, chilling." But apparently, a Netflix movie with David Fincher.
There's also like few people that love working with David, like truly love working with David Fincher, because he is a crazy person. Like
He's
he does
hard to work
83 takes, and but apparently Brad Pitt and him are just like best friends. So I don't know what that says about Brad Pitt or David Fincher, but it's just a weird yin and yang there that they have somehow figured out how to like work with each other a lot. I think they've produced some other things together too. But did David Fincher do Benjamin Button?
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. That is a weird David Fincher movie when you look back on it.
It's extreme. It doesn't even fit.
It doesn't
in the
match
catalog.
at all. Anything else about Seven?
Extremely weird Fincher film.
Very fire movie. 7.
Extremely fire. If you have not seen it, watch it. Dex, what's your number 3? We can jump off from there.
I think it was me, but since we all did number 4.
Well, we all have the same. Yeah, we saw the same number 4. So go him and then
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Bullet Train. Low key, I love.
No way!
Turn that up. Listen to that man, Roy.
Yuck,
Good
dude.
job.
You haven't seen enough Brad Pitt movies. That's what this is.
Yeah, dude.
That's fine, but like I love.
Turn it up.
Like I'm sorry, Fight Club is not going to be in my top 5. Bullet Train is. Like
Bullet Train above 7. Mark it down.
What a pick.
What a pick. Look, man. Hey, we don't have a Voldemort in Bullet Train as of yet. You know, maybe some shit will shake out.
He's right. He's right.
For now,
you know what? That's fair to detract points off of 7 because there's
points because of Voldemort.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, I actually haven't seen a ton of like the top tier Brad Pitt movies. So yeah, my pick is a little bit of a reflection of that.
I'm sure you've seen my top 3.
Probably.
My number 3 is Ocean's 11.
Same.
Okay, good, because Ocean's 11. I actually rewatched it. I think it's the most rewatchable movie ever. I think
the hottest a white man has ever looked on a movie screen of all time. No white man has ever looked hotter than that on a movie screen.
Then Brad Pitt?
Yes, there's no one.
Brad Pitt has like top 4 spots on that list.
Yeah. There's so many good-looking people in that movie.
He's shitting on Clooney. Clooney is incredible looking. He's shitting on Clooney, bro.
All that Steven Soderbergh did was like, I'm going to put a bunch of hot movie stars on screen and make a heist movie. But it still works as a heist movie, more so than a lot of other things have worked. They just don't make these kind of movie, like these kind of heist movies anymore. They've made Soderbergh is the one that's doing them. Logan Lucky and a couple other films, but I'm gonna put charismatic hot people on the screen, and you're gonna fucking eat that shit up. That movie was a hit, and it still is one of the most rewatchable movies. They play that shit on FX and TNT every single day. That thing is on TV. But if you somehow have missed Ocean's 11 over your entire lifetime, it's on HBO. All three of them are. There's diminishing returns for 2 and 3. But
didn't we do Ocean's 11? Did we?
No.
We've done Ocean's. Have we not?
Mm-mm.
Might
one of the
need to
most
add to the list.
That was also my number 3.
Okay, yeah, one of the most I keep saying it, rewatchable films of all time. Matt Damon, one of the Affleck brothers, Scott Conn, rest in peace, Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac, rest in peace.
Yeah, so I enjoy that movie. Anything you want to say about Ocean's 11?
I don't know why Dex. Maybe Dex has it higher than us, but
I don't.
He hasn't seen it.
The only reason I don't have it, I have seen it. I just don't remember which Ocean's movie is which, to be honest.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So like they all just blur together for me. So I didn't have any of them on my top 5.
Julia Roberts, incredible cast. I love Ocean's 11. Okay, why don't I do my number 2 then?
Do it.
My number 2 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm obsessed with that movie. I cannot stop. I've probably seen it like 10 times. I read the book. It's just so good. And Brad Pitt's performance is so incredible. It's like he doesn't
Oscar winning.
He just goes about the film in a way that he has just no thought process for anything. He's just like, I'm just a good guy. I'm just gonna be high. And he just floats through the movie. He just like pops up and floats. It's just incredible. Obviously I'm a huge Tarantino fan, so I'm very biased. But I just love Brad Pitt in this movie, and I think it is what Brad Pitt is doing and what Leo is doing are so different, but they work so well together. Because that's probably some of the best acting I've seen Leo ever do, and he's a great actor. But what Brad Pitt is doing is just so different and equally phenomenal for different reasons. I just love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's an incredible film. I'm obsessed with it, and that's my number 2.
I wanted to see where I was going to put that one. I would have swapped it out maybe for 7. I've only really seen that movie once, and I've rewatched the Manson fight scene a ton.
Incredible. Most cathartic experience
release,
movie theater.
Incredible.
The whole time I was there opening night for that movie. All of us were sitting in the movie theater having heard not too much about the movie. We were just kind of like,
yeah, you're waiting for Tarantino to show the graphic Manson murders.
Like you're gonna fucking show me Margot Robbie getting put through a blender or some shit. Like this is going to be awful. Like the movie is tense as hell all the way up until that.
Which we should have known that he wasn't going to.
No, we shouldn't have. Why did we Tarantino? If anyone's gonna do that, he would be him.
He would have never been able to make the reverence that Hollywood has for that historical event. He would have been blackballed. I guarantee. Even Tarantino, as much as everybody's like, well, that's just Quentin Tarantino. The excuses they make for him, that wouldn't have flown. So I kind of went in knowing that they weren't going to kill it, but the release, the catharsis.
I thought he was about to do it.
Bro,
the whole time I was watching.
Netflix is about to release an NC-17 movie about a fictional Marilyn Monroe rape. So that
is true.
It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't trust Hollywood to show restraint. But yeah, Quentin Tarantino just letting Brad Pitt deck the fucking Manson family in the face with
a can.
Incredible. I love that.
He hit Elvis, by the way.
Number 2.
Elvis. Yep.
That's your number 2 as well.
That's my number. That's also Dex's number 2. Got it. What's your number 2, Royden?
I didn't get it as much as I'm just talking about that. Why I didn't have it in my top 5, because it is his most, his Academy Award winning performance. I think he's had better performances. They were just this is the year that he was going to win, which is fine. He was incredible in it. It was also that was scripted from day one that he was going to win that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, weird. That year was weirdly locked up immediately in all the acting categories. I don't know why. All 4 of them, it was day one. Okay, this person's gonna win. This person's gonna win. This person's gonna win. This person's gonna win, and it all went chalk. I don't know why, but
Yeah. But the Leo performance in that movie has aged a lot better than when I saw it the first time. At first, I didn't quite know what he was going for, and like the Brad Pitt of it all kind of jumped off the screen because he had like some of the more memorable thing. But the Leo of it all, can't have 5 whiskey showers, you gotta have 8 goddamn whiskey showers, and like the Rick fucking Dalton stuff is aged incredibly well.
That's the best scene in the movie. The he does the first take, he goes to his trailer, he does the pep talk, and then he goes and does the second talk and second take, and the girl is just like, "That's the best act I've ever seen." That is the best scene in the movie. That 10 minutes of the movie.
Shout out to Julia Butters, man. My
man.
future goat. That kid's got it.
The memeification of his character is incredible. I saw one the other day when he's shooting the flamethrower. It's like, oh, that's hot. That's hot. Can we make that less hot? He goes, Rick, it's a flamethrower. Oh shit, it's just really funny. But
I don't watch the movie again, man.
I didn't like it upon initial release as much as a bunch of other people did. It's kind of grown in my estimation, but I couldn't like usurp 7.
Did you watch it in theaters? Or did you watch it later?
I watched it in theaters.
Okay, cool. Because that was definitely part of like my reverence for it. Was watching it that first night with all those people and all of us feeling kind of the same thing. Like,
it wasn't as packed, but like the impact it did have on the theater, there was like literal cheers for when like he hit that dude in the face with a can of dog food.
Yeah, shit like that happening in movies is always gonna like make me remember it more fondly, even when I rewatch it. Like if I'm in a movie theater and everyone's like fucking hyped at the same scene, like then I'm always gonna love that movie, whatever it is.
My number 2 is Moneyball. I went back and forth so much on what I was going to rank number 1 and number 2.
Really?
Number 2, yeah, I did, because Moneyball holds a weird place in my heart, is because I love baseball. I love it. Like it's probably my favorite sport. But outside of maybe like college football, but baseball is one of my first true loves. My dad loved baseball. I watched this with my dad. It holds like a weird sort of place in my heart, and it's just the most
Dad Astra, the baseball version.
Dad Astra, yeah. It just is, for as inaccurate as like some of what happened is, it is also like the most accurate talk about baseball and how people talk about and speak about baseball and why people love baseball and sort of the underdog story of it all. Plus, it's the most movie star. Like I said, it's the most movie star performance Brad Pitt has ever given. Probably, I mean, I guess outside of the one he won the Academy Award for, but there's literally nothing going on except for Brad Pitt talking to scouts the entire movie, and you're like, literally. Hell yeah, I care about what this dude says. It's like what Robert Redford would like jump off the screen in that way, and like all the President's Men and stuff. He's talking about subjects that like. And just like talking to people on camera and stuff like that, it just felt the same way. It had that 70s sort of movie star performance. The only reason you're watching is for Brad Pitt and for Jonah Hill, but that's why I love it, and I love baseball, and all of the that didn't actually happen nerds can go die in a hole. I don't care.
Yeah, it's inaccurate. It's inaccurate in the same way the Social Network is inaccurate, which like who cares?
Or remember the fucking Titans or whatever.
Like the Titans. Which I wouldn't change anything about that film, and I don't care what really happened in real life.
Not in the same like category of film as these other ones.
It's Moneyball. No.
Disagree.
Same tier, but...
Disagree. That's peak cinema right there. I love that shit.
I think his name is Bennett Miller, the director. He's directed like 3 films, and just they've all been nominated for like Academy Awards. He directed.
What else did he do?
Capote, Foxcatcher, and Moneyball.
Oh, I did not like Foxcatcher.
No, a lot of people didn't, but like he was nominated for like he's been nominated for Best Director twice, and Moneyball got a Best Picture nomination, and he just doesn't care. He's like,
why has he made a movie since Capote's good? Like, why is he after Foxcatcher? What the fuck is he making?
I have no idea. I cannot find his Wikipedia is also like an anomaly. Like he just said he has 2 projects in the works. I think he's doing a Christmas Carol remake, which is weird, and a movie called The Studio, which I have to assume is probably about Hollywood. But anyway, he's like a really talented and incredible director. He's just directed like 3 major motion pictures, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
And all of our number 1 Inglorious Bastards.
That's mine.
I was gonna say Happy Feet 2, but
the classic Brad Pitt performance, Happy Feet 2.
him and Matt Damon play a couple of penguins, I believe, in that.
I thought we were all going Mr. and Mrs. Smith, actually, but
hey,
I guess not.
there is a weird spot in my
incredible
heart for
movie.
Mr. and Mrs. And also, that's the best that like any
Two
couple
people
has
have
ever
ever
looked
looked
at
on
on a
screen,
screen.
yes.
Angelina Jolie looks fascinating in
Oh
that movie.
my
She is
God.
so good looking. And then,
Brad Pitt has like the top 4 spots and like the hottest white man that ever looked at the screen.
also, do you realize how hot you have to be to make the buzz cut work?
Yeah.
He's going full buzz cut, and I'm just like, this is the most the chemistry is palpable, and it's also because they were fucking during that movie, but like the chemistry is palpable in that movie.
Brad Pitt is hot with like one of those haircuts that like NFL rookies get after the veterans like fuck all the hair up and like shave it off. Like he's got like the fucking Watt Mike Trout shit going on, and like is still hot. Not that
movie made $500 million almost.
Good Lord.
You could never do that today. But anyway, number one, what to talk about Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Number one, Inglorious Bastards. You know what it is. Tej, this is one of your favorite movies, bar none.
This is the greatest movie of all time. When he says they say, because he says he speaks the third best Italian, and he goes, "You don't speak any Italian." He goes, "That's what I said, third best."
Third best.
It makes me laugh every time. I've probably seen this movie 30 times. Every time it makes me laugh. It's such a ridiculous performance. He's having so much fun. The accent is so incredibly bad on purpose, obviously. It is just the most fun I've ever seen Brad Pitt have on a movie set. And the joy in his eyes as he's in this film, realizing I'm working with Tarantino, and this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. But we're going to have a lot of fun on this movie set. It's so much fun. It brings me so much joy. This is my favorite Brad Pitt performance. It's my favorite Brad Pitt movie that Brad Pitt's ever been in. I just love it so much. It's very aware of itself. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna be violent. And the scene, the thing that makes this movie really phenomenal are the scenes, the 2 or 3 scenes that you're actually supposed to take seriously. You take them incredibly seriously. The opening scene of this movie is it is heart stopping. It is so tense. It is so scary in a movie that is 90% funny. When Tarantino's like, "Okay, we're gonna be serious now," the scenes really hit, and I just love everything about this movie. Easy number 1 selection for me. Easy.
You had this. You just recently. We made you watch this. Speaking of,
I made you watch this. Yeah,
incredible.
But the entire time, I was like, "Oh, I get it. I see why everyone fucking loves this movie." Also, shout out to our boy Michael Fassbender, like that scene in the bar or whatever with the German
in the bar.
3.
Yeah, German 3.
Triglazer.
But yeah, fucking him, Brad Pitt, just sitting there like chilling, like while the bear Jew comes out and like beats the fuck out of that guy.
He got a baseball bat and he's gonna beat you to death with it.
Our friend here wants to die for country. Oblige him.
Oblige him.
It's so sort of.
We get off this podcast.
Yeah, maybe it is so almost overshadowed, or at least it was in the moment, by the Christoph Waltz of it all.
Yeah,
also the Tarantino of it all. It's much regarded as probably his masterclass, if you will. Even though he's been successful after it, but it was just like the peak of his powers, and also like the peak of he got to do everything that he wanted to get to do in a movie. Kind of went downhill after that with no, he made Django, and then he made
Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight, which is just boring. It's boring, but
some people really like it. I just don't. I don't dig it.
Probably
don't dig it.
But having Brad Pitt, not having your movie star who has been marketed through the entire time, not come in until 30 minutes into the movie?
It takes 25 or 30 minutes for him to show up on screen.
And then him just coming in and doing just the worst accent, like you said, on possible. We're going to be doing one thing only. That's killing Nazis. Just incredible move. Incredible move by everyone involved, and just giving him some of those lines, and the Buongiorno and all of it all. It's just
Buongiorno.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like Steve said, there's a bunch of tense
Gorlame. Yeah, that's sorry.
Even like the parts that are in like, you know, that are subtitled, you're still like on the edge of your seat, like you're into it, which is really hard to do in a movie, to switch between English and a foreign language and have people still care as much about the foreign language. Like, and he nailed it flawlessly. So that movie,
there is a school of thought that I've heard on other shows and, you know, read about, that Brad Pitt is the hottest character actor to ever live. And
makes a lot of sense.
And it makes a lot of sense when you see movies like this. You see movies like Burn After Reading, or a few other movies where he's billed as the star, but he comes in and doesn't have the most background for his character or anything. He just goes for some of these things sometimes, and it's pretty present, you know, and it's present also in Bullet Train. Even though he's like the star of the movie, he's doing a bit the entire time. In this is the height of that, is that I'm just going to do this thing this entire time, and y'all are either going to ride with it or not. And everybody rode with it, and it heightened the film because of it, because this guy comes in and they deliver all these Americans deliver the funny lines, where all the drama, like you said, is going along with Shoshana and all of that, and where we care more kind of about that. But having these times intersect, and then Brad Pitt continuing to do the bit is really incredible filmmaking. But any other honorable mentions that we wanted to talk about? Yeah, The Big Short is an incredible. I wouldn't call that a Brad Pitt movie, though. I almost disqualified that, because he's literally in that for like 5 minutes.
Hey, that's why it's an honorable mention.
Yeah,
and Margaretti.
That Big Short probably would have been on my list if he was in it a little bit longer, because I absolutely love that movie. I think it's one of the best movies of the 2010s. Fury, I know, is like has its detractors, and it is what it is, but that movie is edge of your seat when you're watching it, especially if you're watching it in the theater. Fun fact: took my now wife to that. That was like our second date to ever go see that movie.
I remember this.
Wow.
We got out of that. I was like, that rocked. She was like, okay, whatever.
We should mention 12 Monkeys, not in jest. Like it's a well-regarded film. Not my favorite Brad Pitt performance, but a lot of people.
I mean, he was Oscar nominated for it, and it does some stuff with that concept that it was one of Bruce Willis's best like movies that nobody ever really talks about.
We don't talk nearly enough about Bruce Willis on this podcast. I fucking love Bruce Willis.
People don't
love Bruce Willis.
People don't like Killing Them Softly because it was marketed a lot different than what it actually is. It's more of a tense reflection on capitalism. But Brad Pitt has one of the coolest lines I've ever heard in my entire life in that movie. Is America is a business, now fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, fuck you, pay me.
Is an incredible ending line to a movie. So there's all that. Guys, I don't like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I know he's Oscar nominated for it. It's awesome what they kind of did
I'm
with
not
it.
into it.
I was bored to tears by that movie.
My least favorite Fincher movie by far. Not into it.
Yeah, never really cared. I still haven't seen The Assassination of Jesse James, but I will watch it. I promise. I will get my movie nerd credentials.
That is some cinema right there, brother.
I will get my movie nerd credentials. I will watch it. I promise.
Mark off a weekend because that movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
It is long as shit, but it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it.
One of the best looking movies ever shot. I think who would have done that movie? Sorry. Oh, director, yeah, our guy, Roger Deakins. Roger Deakins shot that movie. That movie looks absolutely... They teach that movie in, like, cinematography classes. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Oh, you know what movie that is not good, but I've watched it a million times?
Troy, apparently.
Troy.
Troy's really good. Troy's good. I probably watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith more than I watched Troy, but Troy was one of those movies that was always on TNT or one of those, and I would always tune in. Every time I would always tune in.
TNT loves a 3-hour epic.
We can sell commercials on this shit.
That way we can put all the commercials we want into this shit.
He is like Chris Hemsworth jacked in that movie too.
Super jacked.
Snatch, a lot of people love. I haven't seen all the way through, but I have seen the Brad Pitt scenes where
That's
he's just
good.
talking in a Cockney accent that nobody can understand. I think they subtitle him, actually, if I'm
Yes, they do. I believe they do.
which is really funny. But also, we can't talk about Brad. We talked about it a little bit, and then we'll wrap up. He has also been really cool, really awesome about putting uh, minority filmmakers into roles and financing their films, like Minari, which was Oscar nominated. He's been incredible
he
at like
did use that.
yeah, which he's been incredible at finding these projects and also giving people who usually or historically haven't had a shot at making these films a shot at making these films. And he's been really awesome about that. He has credited with like 100 producing credits already.
Didn't he
But
produce Moonlight?
Yeah, he did.
yeah, he did produce Moonlight. He produced he was the executive producer of Outer Range, actually, Dex.
Yeah,
But-
I knew that. Yeah, that's kind of why I started watching it, because like I knew Plan B was involved, his entertainment company. So
But yeah,
man,
he did the Minari, a movie called
got
The
some shit
King
under his
on. Oh, he was an executive producer for Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Yep.
Like
movie I still haven't seen.
if Bill Street could talk.
A friend of mine was
Okja.
at an event once, and it was for one of these black movies that he helped produce, and everybody in the space was black as hell. A lot of academics, a lot of like people that do social justice work, and then fucking Brad Pitt, the only white man in the room, was fucking Brad Pitt, and she was like, he was just walking around interacting with everybody. He was like the coolest guy in the world. He was just having a great time. He was meeting people. He wasn't being pretentious. Apparently, he's like a super extremely nice dude. So, all love to Brad Pitt, man. I love Brad Pitt.
So somebody that's
also,
been famous for like 35 years too.
Which is
He's
insane to
58
think about.
years old.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Insane.
But he's also producing I think it's a biopic. It might be a documentary, but no, it's a biopic about the whole Harvey Weinstein situation. So Brad Pitt, like, he's with the
From
shits,
whose
man.
perspective?
Socially
About
conscious.
Harvey Weinstein, or it's about somebody else?
It's about it's about two of the women actually who wrote the
Okay,
book.
okay, that makes
Harvey
much more sense.
Yeah, Carey Mulligan is the lead. She plays Megan Twohey, who I guess is one of the authors of the book that like kind of blew up the whole Harvey Weinstein thing.
You scared the hell out of me when you said that we're about to have a Harvey Weinstein biopic. I got
No,
so
not
scared.
a Harvey Weinstein biopic. It's
Brad
like
Pitt is playing Harvey Weinstein. He's gaining
Brad
like
Pitt
1,000
as
pounds.
Harvey Weinstein is nasty.
oh my god, dude, Harvey Weinstein wishes like
Right. That's what
But-
Harvey Weinstein wakes up. That's what he sees himself as,
Yes.
though, by the way.
who would play me in this movie? Brad Pitt, obviously. But yeah, it's like it's a biopic about like from the perspective of the women who wrote that book, kind of exposing Weinstein and all that stuff. So yeah, Brad Pitt is with the shits, basically.
Yeah.
Fuck
Incredible.
you, Harvey Weinstein.
I also would say he did attach himself pretty early, or not pretty early. Like Bong Joon-ho has made a ton of great films before he like started crossing over into American cinema, but he also has attached himself, and he's like really good friends with Bong Joon-ho, which is kind of funny.
He needs to pop up in a Bong movie. We got Captain America in a Bong movie. Why can't we have Brad Pitt just pop up in a Bong movie? Why not?
It'd be incredible. I would watch it 12 times. But yeah. So that has been a one take pod, a retrospective, I guess, on Brad Pitt's career and our favorite Brad Pitt films, as well as Bullet Train, which Dex has now ranked ahead of a lot.
Hey,
better
you
movies.
know, we shoot from the hip around here.
Absolutely. But yeah, you can find us at One Take Pod. You can find us at One Take Pod on all social media accounts. That's the number One Take Pod. Instagram, not on Facebook because no thanks. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, the like. Go rate, download, subscribe, give us 5 stars. A few more people have been giving us 5 stars on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. So we really do appreciate that. Leave a review. It really does help us a lot. So continue to do that. If you listen, it takes like 2 seconds. We really appreciate that. If you listen on iTunes, you have an iTunes account, go rate us 5 stars. We really appreciate it. Or 4. We'll take 5 or 4. That's fine. Yeah, so go do that. Anything else that we're working on, Dex? You've written a couple of articles for Screen Rant.
Yeah, I do that now. I just wrote about the new Netflix show Mo. It's coming out next week, I think. Yeah, it'll be out next week. I actually get to go to the red carpet event that's happening here in Houston. The show is based here in Houston. It's about a dude
Nice.
from Houston, so I'm going to go do that.
Nice.
A24 did it, right?
Yeah, it's an A24 Netflix comedy series. Yeah, Mo. M-O.
Is it good?
I haven't seen it yet. It comes out next week.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I'll let you know how this preview goes. Bun B is going to be there. I think Toby and Wigwee is going to be there, and a couple other people. So I'm excited for that. Check that out. You can check out all the stuff we're doing on ApolloHOU.com. More pop culture shit coming. We're going to start doing music reviews and shit here soon too. But you can check out the movie reviews that me and Royden have been doing. And I dropped a Formula One drivers as NBA players article the other day, so check that out too. ApolloHOU.com.
I know F1's super popular. Like I'm on TJ and I are on the outside of that. Yes, that is such a niche thing for you. F1 as NBA. That is so that is so niche. It's incredible. Tej, you got 18 podcasts that you're doing. What's the next Slander You pod? I think it's over Oklahoma.
Well, if you're watching this live, yes, we're slandering Oklahoma tomorrow. But obviously, if you're listening as we post it, then it will already be happened. But all of our episodes are backlogged, so just go search Slander You. We've done a lot of your favorite schools, so just go search it, bro. We're having a good time over there.
Also, Underhooks podcast. Go talk about some MMA. I actually got to watch the fight night the other day.
We are watching people get the shit kicked out of them. It is elite content, bro. Go check us out if you like to see people get beat up.
We got one of the fights of the year on UFC Fight Night the other day, by the way. This shit was incredible. I don't remember those dudes' names at this point, but it doesn't matter.
David Onama and Nate Landwehr put on a complete show. It was insane. It was a lot of fun. We haven't even recapped that fight yet, so we're gonna recap that this week. I can't wait.
Shout out to Mr. Blah Blah, our good friend Stefan. Got to get him back on, but go find those at Underhooks at Slander You. I'll end with this. Peter Hegg says the top 3 Google questions for Ad Astra are asking if it's boring, if it's terrible, and if it's a flop. Laugh my ass off.
The answer is yes.
I love walking out of. I love picturing people walk out of a movie and just be the first thing they do is Google. Was that boring? Was what I just watched boring? Like I couldn't tell. I kind of think it was boring.
I have no idea.
Google thinks.
Was that boring or am I an idiot? I don't know.
Is it boring or meditative?
We need to make that shirt. Was that boring or am I dumb?
I love that.
All right. As always, Dex, what are we doing?
#Sport4SPU, baby. We out here.
We're out.